monthly cash flow plan. The most important sheet. Right here it is. You ready? Monthly cash flow plan. You'll notice the very first thing on here is charitable giving, because you start with charitable giving. Now your total right there in the center is the total of those subcategories. I'll cover that in a second. But look over on the right-hand side where we have 366 as the total, and over on the right-hand side we have, as a percentage of take-home pay, 10%. Because we want to know in these individual categories here, for instance, if you look down there at savings, $224 is 6% of the take-home pay. We want to do that math and say, what percentage is that category of our take-home pay? Because we're going to look at that a little bit later. Now, here's the way it works, though. We're going to take the far left-hand column, your first column, and you add up electricity of 100, 55 of water, 75 of gas, 45 of phone, and 21 on cable. All of that adds up. Down the left-hand side to the center, just in one notch, is 296. You see that? Say yes. Okay. Then you take that center column where 296 is, and you total that all the way to the bottom of the page, and you have a page total of $2,491. Do you see that? And so that's your page total. Now there are 3 pages to this form. And this is your overall monthly budget. At the bottom of the next page on the form, on the left, you'll see a category that's called the blow category. You need to allocate some money in your budget to blow, because you're going to blow some money. So just go ahead and put it on there. So let's, we're doing this for 2 reasons. One is we're just admitting that life isn't perfect and we need a little bit of wiggle room. We need a miscellaneous category. The second reason we have a blow category is in memory of your former plan. Now we go over to the third page of this form. Now we've got all of our page totals from page 1, 2, and 3 added up, and you notice that all 3 page totals, oddly enough, equal exactly the same amount as our income. So income minus outgo equals exactly 0. Do you think that's going to happen the first time you write it out? No. So there's going to be a little give and take, a little trial and error till you get this to balance. But you're going to stay at it till it balances. Because I had one guy come into Financial Peace, he goes, "Look, Dave, I got $479 left over. I won." No, you didn't understand. That wasn't the goal. Because if you leave $479 just out there floating around, the ants carry it off, don't they? You come back and you might as well just put it in the blow category, because it's just going to leave and you're not going to know what happened to it, right? So give it a name. I don't care what you name it. It's your money. But give it a name. Every dollar has a name. Income minus outgo. It's going to take a little bit of messing with it to get it to hit. But income minus outgo equals exactly 0. And remember, any found money, any extra money we find, we're putting on whichever baby step that we're in. Whether we're on baby step 1, 2, 3, or 4, wherever we are, that's what we're concentrating on. And I'm going to walk through that whole system before we're done, and you'll see exactly how to do that.
A budget doesn't have anything to do with income. It has to do with expenses. Right now, you don't have any full-time adult expenses, so your budget will be shorter. What's most important is telling your money what to do. Remember, goal setters win, and a budget cash flow plan is your written financial plan. Here's how to get started. Use the student budgeting forms, which you can get online or from your teacher. Spend every dollar on paper before you get paid. For example, if you make $200 a month, that's what you write down for income, and that's what you'll spend. Next, write down the money you plan to spend for each category. If you don't have some of those expenses, just leave them blank. The money you should spend should always equal the money you earn. This is called a zero-based budget. When you start having more expenses, you can use the monthly cash flow forms, which have more categories. Here's a couple of things to remember. Use the envelopes for each category that you tend to overspend, like food, entertainment, clothing, or how about that cell phone bill? You can make your own envelopes, or you can get the deluxe envelope system. And remember, practice makes perfect. You won't get it right the first time.
Now, recommended percentages, this one really gets the nerds uptight. And I've almost taken this form out of the budget form system because people completely go bananas with it. They'll send me emails like, "Dave, you have transportation on here at 10 to 15%. We're spending 15.3% on our transportation, and I'm really worried because I'm over your recommended percentages." You need to just kind of lighten up and take a chill pill. This is a recommended percentage. And it kind of changes a little bit depending on, I mean, if you don't make much money, these percentages are off. If you make a lot of money, these percentages are off. I mean, for instance, if you make like $1 million a year, I don't want you spending 10% on food. You would be rather large. Okay? So this is a general concept. But it does bring to bear something like with transportation. If you've got a car payment that's 60% of your take-home pay, you've got issues. Now, the allocated spending is probably the most important form in all the budget forms. Now, the monthly budget, where we lay out the whole month, is a 3-page plan. You remember that plan? Say yes. Yes. We're going to take the numbers from that, and now we're going to develop the plan we're really going to manage with day to day, week to week, trying to figure out where we stand with everything. And that's this form. This is the form right here. Do not mess this form. We have 4 weeks of July represented here. Now, some of you get paid 1st and 15th. Some of you get paid once a month. Some of you get paid weekly. Some of you get paid very weekly, okay? And we're going to, so you just got to write it all down. You got to figure out, now this month, I'm going to get a paycheck on this day, and she's or he's going to get a paycheck on that day, and my extra job paycheck's going to come in here. And you look at that ahead of time, and you put those paychecks, the total of your paychecks for a given week, at the top of that week. So I got 3,188, 0, 472, and 0 is the income I've got to spend on my overall situation. Are you with me? Say yes. Yes. Now I'm going to spend 3,188. There I'm going to take 366 out of 3,188. To the left of that slash, to the right of that slash, you see what is 2822. That's what's left over after I take 3,188 minus 366 is 2822. Minus 224 down there at savings, do you see it? Leaves 2598. And I keep going back and spending to the balance, back and spend, and to the balance until I get to the right of that slash to a 0. And I've got that week then spent on paper, on purpose, before the month begins. I've got the other week then spent. You kind of already do this form in your head when you say, I pay the car payment and the cable bill in the second check. That's kind of what you do in your head then. You're kind of allocating it to different checks already. What I'm doing here is making you go to detail on it, because this is like you manage money for a company. If you work for a company and manage money, this is the kind of stuff you have to do. They want to know how the cash is going to flow. They want to know how the payables are going to clear. They're wanting purchase orders. And when professionals manage money, this is how they do it. Every dollar has a name before the month begins. If you work in a corporate situation where you have P&L responsibility, they'll kick your butt if you don't do stuff like this. It's that simple. Or fire you, or however that works. Planning sheet is one of the sheets I get asked the most questions about. Well, Dave, I can't do a budget because I'm self-employed or I'm on straight commission. I just never know, so I can't do a budget. I get that all the time. Oh, no, you got to do a budget more than anybody else. Because I know about you. I am you. I've been straight commission or self-employed just about my whole life, and those of us that are straight commission and we're entrepreneurial, we're salespeople, we have a tendency to try to out-earn our stupidity. And that is a major issue. You cannot out-earn your stupidity. You have to put it on paper on purpose before the month begins. Now, the way the irregular income planning sheet works is any extra money that comes above what we pretty much know is going to come. What we pretty much know is going to come, we run the regular budget forms on that. If you're in a straight commission and you haven't been below $3,000 a month in 3 years, then you can run a regular budget on $3,000. But if you have a $6,000 a month, what are we going to do with that other three? That's the question. And that's what this form is. You make a list of everything that didn't make it in the budget in the first run over here, and you make a list of everything I want to do or should do or could do over here. And I make a list and I put a dollar amount beside it. I'd like to pay extra on this debt. I'd like to save some money. We'd like to put some money aside for Christmas. We'd like to go on vacation. I want to buy this item. Whatever it is, and you make a list of those things and you put a dollar amount beside them. Then you look at that list and you ask yourself, if I could only do one of these things, if I make my $3,000 and I make one more dollar, what would I do with that dollar? If I could only do one of these things, what would I do? And then you say, I'm going to put it on that thing. Okay, that's your number one priority then. You put a 1 beside that item. If I could do one more thing on here after that, what's the next most important thing? You put a 2 beside that. If I could do one more thing thing after that? What's the next most important thing? You put a 3 beside that. And so on until every one of these has a number in order of importance. Rewrite the sheet then, off of a yellow pad, write it onto this sheet in order of importance. Most important to least important. And the sheet is really simple. The amount is the amount that you need for the item. The cumulative amount on the right-hand side is just the running total. So this particular couple's trying to pay off their JCPenney card. They want to put $150 on that. And then they want to pay off their Sears card. So $150 plus $250 over to the right is $400 is the running total. Then we want to pay off a $500 Visa. They're working their debt Snowball, looks to me like. And so $400 plus $500 on the right-hand side, the running total is $900. You see how that's working? Say yes. Plus, I want to save $200 towards a vacation. $900 plus $200 is $1,100. And then we're going to put some $400 towards Christmas. $1,100 plus $400 is $1,500. Now, if this guy gets a quarterly bonus out of the blue that's not in his budget, it doesn't mean party, road trip. It means if he gets a $1,064 take-home quarterly budget, what's he going to do with it? Well, we're going to pay off JCPenney, Sears, Visa. We're going to fund part of the vacation. Because $1,064 doesn't quite get me to $1,100. I just go how far I can go down that right-hand column. How far will that check? If I get a $500 check, we know we're going to pay off 2 credit cards and a little bit on the Visa. How far down that right-hand column can I go? Do you see how that works? Say yes. That's how to manage an irregular, unpredictable income. You still have to spend every dollar on paper before the month begins, even if you can't predict it. Now, the breakdown of savings is one of my favorite sheets. It's kind of a fun sheet. Works pretty good. Basically, what you're doing here is, if you have a savings account, I recommend for your emergency fund that you keep it completely separate. You don't mix any of the savings with your emergency fund. That way you don't accidentally buy a couch with your emergency fund. But then you need the miscellaneous savings account over here to save up for Christmas, or save up for the property taxes, or save up to go on vacation, right? Say yes. And the problem with that miscellaneous savings account is it builds up, and then we impulse, and we forgot that we had this other thing coming. We go buy a leather couch, and we didn't leave the money in there for Christmas. And then Christmas comes around, and we go, oh, it got me. Okay, snuck up on me again. You don't want to go there at all. So what the breakdown of savings says, it says, in my savings account, down at the bottom there, I have a total of $1,600 in October, but that $1,600 isn't really $1,600. It's really money for car replacement, for my health insurance, and my savings towards Christmas. The next month there's $1,850, and I have $700 in for car replacement. So if I go spend on Christmas $900, well, something's not going to happen with the car replacement or the health insurance deductible, right? We just bid into one of those, and we're saying that out loud. Now, the reason I like this fund is, one time we had a really nice vacation fund set up to go snow skiing. And we're sitting there, and the furniture fund didn't have a lot in it. We were saving for some furniture, but it didn't have a lot in it. Well, my wife gets this bright idea. She wants a china cabinet. Now, see, I'm a guy. I do not understand china that we don't use. And I really don't understand a $2,500 cabinet to put it in. It just does not compute. I do not get this whole concept. But I figured out with some things I don't have to get it, I've just got to get it. So I'm okay with that, but there wasn't enough money in the furniture fund for the china cabinet. Almost, but not quite. But there's plenty over here in my vacation fund. I'm getting ready to go snow skiing. And she starts looking over there at that, looking for this china cabinet. I'm going, no, you can't ski on a china cabinet. It'll bust all to pieces when you go down the mountain on it. It won't work. We're not doing that. And she says, no, wait a minute, hear me out. I got an idea. This is a true story. She said, I want to move my portion of the snow skiing money out of there to buy the china cabinet. And there's a bunch of guys over at church going skiing, and you take the rest and go skiing with the guys. So get this, people. I got to go snow skiing with the guys, and I was a hero. I love this form. I love this form. But what it really did was it created communication, didn't it? And we had a place here to talk through an issue and come to a resolve. Everybody got to win. We created a win-win scenario. And that's what that breakdown of savings form will do for you. We're going to cover the debt snowball form in detail in the debt lesson. There's a pro rata form that we're going to cover in the collections lesson in detail. There's some other forms throughout your form system that you'll see as you go through the workbook and through the different lessons, how to calculate on a refinance, how to calculate on things like your retirement or your kids' college, those kinds of things, you'll do those as work study on your own, and you can always go online. We've always got new features and tutorials and tools and videos and all kinds of very, very cool stuff there. So check online regularly, because we're constantly updating it. We have a fabulous, fabulous website. You will not win in this class until you do a budget. You will not win in the steps of financial peace. You will not get out of debt as successfully as the other people until you put it down on paper, on purpose. There is no exception. There is no way out. These financial people go, never do a budget. This is somebody trying to sell books, right? That's the truth. The truth is you've got to do the hard work. It's the only way you get to win. And there's no exception to it. That's why every book I've ever written that's hit the New York Times bestsellers got the budget forms in the back. There's no exception to this. You've got to do this. Thanks for being here.
Do a written budget. Simple as that. You've got to tell your money what to do, or you'll always wonder where it went. Goal setters win. And a budget is goal setting. It's how you win financially. Spend every dollar on paper, on purpose, every time. Get into this habit right now. It'll change your life. No one wins without doing written goals. Always tell your money what to do on paper.